Hi, so I'm going to show you about ambient occlusion and how to bake it. First of all, I'm going to bake to texture, so I'll use this anvil I've got here. Right, when baking to texture, your UVs need to be laid out, so if you've got a UV texture editor, and there can be no overlapping UVs, which could cause actual shading problems. Close that. Now, you also need mental ray turn on, so go to Window, Settings, Preferences, and Plugin Manager. Then we scroll down and make sure this is turned on, so loaded and auto-loaded future reference. Just close that. Right, go to the rendering tab and lighting and shading. Assign a new bake set, texture bake set. Right, let's rename this to anvil_bake set. And we'll try and keep good naming conventions throughout, so I'll paste this here and get rid of that. Turn on orthogonal reflection, and we will keep this as light and colour, just because there's already a pre-existing texture on here, so make it much easier. We can bake to alpha or to 1 map if we want to combine them as well, but we won't do that for now. Right, if we go to lighting and shading, batch bake mental ray, click the small box, keep that selected. We'll keep bake to texture on. You can choose multiple objects or just single, but it wouldn't really matter in this one. Make sure you have baked shadows on and use bake set override. And then we'll just change this because this is from a previous one back to what it should be. There we go. We want fill texture seams to free because this will stop any texture issues along edges. Go to convert and close, and here is our final image. It's quite dark on the back there. Then you've got the lighting just on the front, and light and orange from a fire. That's if you bake light and colour. If you want to bake occlusion in your render data mental ray light map, you get your actual occlusion maps here, which you can then put into Photoshop and use as a multiplier layer of your actual existing textures to get the same sort of effect. And if you did just do occlusion, this is what you will end up with in your actual scene after you've done that. That is just your occlusion map there. Right, now that we've covered that, we shall move on to baking to vertices. Right, first thing we want to do in our scene is get rid of the sky dome. So just Control H, just hide, because this can cause problems when actually baking to vertices, because your actual object might just come out black. So if that happens, look around for anything obstructing our sky dome. Right, we'll go to assign new bake set like before, but this time we'll go to vertex bake set. We will keep name convention, so place up here. Have this as occlusion only. Turn on orthogonal reflection, and occlusion rays will have that at max, just because it makes it a much better shadow detail and it's less grainy. Right, we've got to batch bake options. That's vertices selected. You want bake shadows on, use bake set override. And here's our bake set that we've just done a second ago. Hit convert and close. And there we have it. Now normally we do this with sculpts or high poly terrain, just because the more vertices the better the actual outcome is. Obviously there's not quite a lot on this, so the shadowing could be better, as you will see in our render here. There is not too much difference, but I'm using the same object just so you can get a feel for which is better or which you prefer. And just to give you an example using the same thing. Right, let's close this. As you can see, the shadowing is still quite good considering it is not so high, but if you click on your object and go to Anvil Bake Set, you can also change your options in your bake set if you want to try again and improve it. Right, let's move on to Ambient Occlusion within UDK now. Right, here's a basic default scene. All I've done is use the original box, alt-click to duplicate it across, upwards and right. I chose to do it using a default scene rather than a pre-existing example map, just because it can take a while to build the lighting, so for time issues I thought it'd be easier to make a new one. Now with my lighting building options, I've just used the basic settings with ambient occlusion turned off. Now let's just inspect the actual shadows that are already present this time. As you can see, shadowing isn't too bad, but you want to keep your eye on those bottom faces. Let's turn ambient occlusion on. If you go to View, World Properties, this will bring up this menu. You want to click, you probably start off up here. You want to click down on the Light Mask tab. Now if you click that, it'll drop down and bring up a lot more options. What we want to do is look for ambient occlusion and turn that on, which is around here somewhere. There it is, right. Use ambient occlusion. All it is simple this time is just tick it, and then we'll build the lighting again. So if we go up here to build lighting, click, make sure you have light mask on, you need this on, and we will click OK. Right, just keep your eye on these two faces, that's where you see the most drastic change, and also on the back faces of these boxes. You also want to keep your eye on these back faces, because you'll get to see a nice shadow grading once this is done. Shouldn't take too long. But as you can see, with this just being 4 boxes, if this was a whole scene, it would take quite a while. And there you have it. Very in-depth shadows. Some deep shadow and right in like the corner. Now, I'll just show you the front. So there you go. Back to the back. That shadow in there. And if you look on the side faces, from the bottom left to the top right, you can see a great gradient. This is the difference when you use ambient occlusion within UDK. It's just a swarm agent. And that is all. Thank you for listening.